Hi, this is Sean with ZipGrow, and today I'm going to take you through the assembly process of our DIY seedling cart, base kit, and add-on kit. Okay, so to get started, I'm just going to review a couple of tools that you're going to need for the assembly, and then we'll go over the components that come with both the base kit and the add-on kit. So to get started, you're just going to need a tape measure and a pair of soft tubing cutters. And then for the base kit, you're going to have a 25-gallon sump tank, a lid for that tank. You're going to have two 4-foot by 2-foot flood tables, 8 200-cell seedling trays, along with 8 humidity domes to help with germination, 1,500 of our flexi plugs that fit with these 200-cell trays. You'll have 6 4-foot LED lights. Included with each LED light, you'll have a power cord, link cord, and a small package of some clips. To hang the lights, you will have 12 lengths of chain and 24 S-hooks. For plumbing fittings, you're gonna have 5 of these 1/2-inch drain elbows, 4 sections of 3/4-inch vinyl tubing, 4 3/4-inch barbed elbows. These will come pre-assembled like this. You'll also have 4 1/2-inch barbed elbows. You'll also have a submersible pump and some 1/2-inch vinyl tubing. Now for each additional add-on kit, you're gonna have 1 extra 2-foot by 4-foot flood table, 4 additional 200-cell seedling trays, and 4 additional humidity domes, 3 additional LED lights, 2 additional drain assemblies with 3/4-inch elbows, 3/4-inch vinyl tubing, and 1/2-inch drain elbows, 2 additional 1/2-inch barbed elbows, 6 additional lengths of chain, and 12 additional S-hooks, an extra length of 1/2-inch vinyl tubing. In addition, you'll have a few zip ties. That'll just be to kind of tidy some stuff up. And that is all of the supplies. All right, so now that we've gone over the couple of tools you'll need, along with the parts that come with the system here, I want to mention that you'll need to purchase your own rack to support the system. These are available at all your home improvement stores. The main consideration is you need shelves that are at least 2 feet deep by 4 feet wide, and then there'll be a variety of numbers of shelves. So I would suggest a unit like this that has 4 shelves that come with it. So just follow the manufacturer's assembly instructions on whatever rack you purchase. Once your rack is all assembled, we're ready to start assembling the seedling cart system. We're going to start with the flood tables here. So there's going to be, with this top table here, there's going to be 1 pre-drilled hole on one side and 2 pre-drilled holes on the opposite side. The important thing to notice with these flood tables is there's going to be a high side and a low side. That's going to allow, once water is pumped into this single hole over here, water is going to drain from the high side to the low side. We'll position the next flood table down with the high side directly below the low side of this top one. So it's kind of like a cascading effect: high side, low side, high side, low side, and that's just going to promote the drainage throughout the whole system. Once we get to this bottom one here, we've got our low side over here. And so we want to position our sump tank directly below this low side here. And that's just going to allow the drain tubes that we'll install later on to drop straight down in, so there's no kinking or anything like that. It'll allow the system to drain completely back into the sump tank. So now that all these trays are positioned properly, we're going to start by installing the plumbing fittings here. So for this first hole over here, we've got this 1/2-inch drain fitting here. It's got a 1/2-inch barb fitting and 2 gaskets. When we install this, we just want to make sure there's a gasket on either side of the table. So this is just going to go straight through the hole here, gasket on this other side, followed by the nut, and we're just going to get this straight and just hand tighten. You don't need to tighten this down with a wrench or anything, just hand tight is fine. This is going to be where the pump is connected to this to fill the entire system. Okay, so now the next fittings here are going to be these little assemblies here. There's actually 3 parts in here that come pre-assembled. These are going to go in the opposite side where these 2 pre-drilled holes are. Same thing as before, there's 2 gaskets. Make sure there's 1 on either side of the table. This larger 3/4-inch elbow is going to fit inside of the tray. This 1/2-inch elbow is going to be on the outside of the tray. Same thing as before. Place these through the pre-drilled hole and hand tighten the nut on the other side. After you get all your drain assemblies here installed into the flood tables, the next thing we're going to do is measure and cut some of the 1/2-inch vinyl tubing to fit between these elbows and the tray below it. So I'm just going to measure up here from the top of the barb on this elbow to just inside of the flood table so that it doesn't leak out as it's draining. So I'm going to cut these to about 16 inches in this case. Once you find your measurement, as long as your shelves are all spaced evenly, you'll just need to cut that same length for as many of these fittings as you have. So with this being the base kit and the add-on kit, I'm going to cut 6 sections of 1/2-inch tubing to 16 inches long. So now that you've got all of these cut here, we're going to take the 1/2-inch elbows. We're going to put these in one end of each of these. What this does is it's going to help create the siphon, so it puts a little back pressure as it's draining and helps create the siphon to actually drain each flood table. So just put one of these elbows in each of these tubes. The extra tubing that you've got here we're going to use later, so just set that aside. All right, now that the elbows are installed, we can go ahead and put the other end of the tube right up onto this barbed fitting, and that should just drop straight down and sit just inside of the flood table below. Like I said, just so that it won't splash out as it's draining. But you can just go through the system now and just put one of these on the end of each of these elbows. Nice. All right, and once all these are installed now, you'll notice that with the bend of the tubing, sometimes they can be a little wild out here, so there's some zip ties included. And there's going to be 2 small little pre-drilled holes on each table here. So you can just run the zip tie through those holes. That'll help keep those nice and tidy and close to the edge of the table here and out of the way. And we can go through and trim the ends of those off just to make it look a little better. After you've finished installing the last of these tubes with our 1/2-inch elbows and zip tied them to each flood table, we're ready for the last step of the plumbing here. So you're going to get your remaining length of 1/2-inch vinyl tubing and the submersible pump. Slide this out. The pump is going to go into our tank here. There's a included fitting with the pump, which is a 1/2-inch barb fitting here. You can hand tighten that on, place that in there. We'll kind of just want to, we can go ahead and push this on. Place that in there. And this is going to run up. We can take it through the wire rack here. And then probably going to have a little bit extra here, so I'm just going to run it to where it's got a little bit of play there, and then I'll take my cutters and trim it off at about that length and just press that onto this fitting here. All right, we're all finished with the plumbing in the system now, so the last thing to do is hang our lights. So each light's going to come with these 2 clips with the little rubber grommet here. So we just need to snap those on really quick before we move and hang them on the rack. So all you really need to do with this is I hang them about 1 inch from either end of the light. They just snap in place. And then we're ready to move on to the system. So do that for each of your lights, and then we'll move over here. All right, we've got our clips installed here on the light, 1 on each end. And we're going to start hanging our lights, but first we're just going to review. Each light is going to come with a power cord and a link cord. For each level here of lights, we're just going to use 1 power cord, and then we're going to daisy chain the other 2 lights so that we've just got one plug on each level here. There's going to be a different plug shape on either end of the light. One of them is kind of rounded, and that's where the power cord is going to go. And then on the opposite end, it's got kind of a squared off side to it, and that's what one side of this link cord is going to go into. So when we're hanging these lights, we want to make sure that we're staggering them as we go, so that the squared end will plug into the one, and then the round end will plug into the one next to it, so that they can be daisy chained together. So we'll grab an S-hook, the link of chain, and another S-hook. And these are going to just hang onto the underside of this rack. So it's easiest to kind of start with one, get it in place, and then go on to the next side. And when you're doing this, the main thing is we're gonna have 3 lights across here. So we just wanna make sure they're fairly well evenly spaced across the depth of the flood table here. Our first level of lights are installed now, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the power cord. The power cord will, in this case, go on this first one here. This is just gonna plug in. Can drop this down for now, and I'm going to move to the other side, and I'm going to start linking each of these lights together now. So on this end, this is where the square fitting that I was talking about will plug in here, and another rounded fitting which is on the other end of this link cord, and this just transmits the electricity through each one so that one power cord can power all 3 of these lights together. And so the remaining one will go on this last side here. And now we're all linked together. So we'll continue this same exact process for the next 2 layers here. Well, thanks for watching today. I hope that this video made it really easy for you to assemble your DIY seedling cart. If you do have any remaining questions or comments, feel free to reach out either by phone or email, and we're happy to help.